Hello.
Hello, we're live. Just waiting
back.
for the top right of my screen to come up.
Okay.
And there it is. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to League of Europe. We are here for Division 1. It is Season 4, of course. Round 6 of the Championship as we take in the Baku City Circuit around the Azerbaijani capital. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as lead commentator once again tonight. We should have a stable stream as well, albeit with my new connection, which should be great. And joining me in the commentary box, as always, as last week, it is Mr. Daniel Field. Dan, how you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing great tonight, and I'm excited for another race here in Division 1, of course. We had a great week last week. Hopefully it can be as good as that.
Yeah, hopefully it will be. Alphatrix obviously taking the win last time out, extending his championship lead as a result. Montana, crucially, not picking up any points and was not in the top 15 right at the finish. So Montana really needs to get his act together here tonight. I am on record and saying that this is his favourite track. So he should do quite well. But Alphatrix does lead the championship on 111 points. Montana in second on 86 points. So there's a 25-point gap between Alphatrix and Montana. Think of that as a race win difference. Toxic in third on 36 points. Then we've got Rocco in fourth on 32. Campbell in fifth on 30. D. Daniel in sixth, also on 30. Same with Bollen, who's in seventh on 30. So all three of those drivers tied on points. Spine in eighth on 26 points, with Verstappen in ninth on 25 points and Neo in 10th on 22 points. So there's the top 10. Running further down the rest of the field as well, Killer Blue in 11th. He's on 19 points, but Larkin in 12th on 18. Dropier in 13th on 15. Same with Josh M97. Cohen in 15th on 12, and that is the top 15. Just Asas in 16th on 10. Kooky Games on 9. Gary on 7. Baki on 7. Suku, who has got five license points added on, he will be, that's obviously been added on to his license point tally. He's in 20th on 3 points, while Ouiji's the only other one in 21st who scored 2 points in the driver's standings. But how crucial was it last week? Montana not scoring any points, Alphatrix taking the race win. Is it going to be the same tonight?
Well, I don't know if my eyes are actually playing tricks on me, but I don't see Alphatrix in the lobby, so this could be a really good opportunity for Montana to bring back the points that he lost from the last race. But if Alphatrix does end up showing up, which I'm sure he will, we'll definitely see a good fight between those two. Hopefully, for the sake of Montana, he can bring it back in this championship and we can have a good fight going forward.
Yeah, and your eyes are definitely not deceiving you. It is honestly Alphatrix who has not joined the lobby. I'm not sure. I don't think he put in anything in the non-attendance chat, so I'm not sure if he's going to be making it. But hopefully he will. Hopefully he will be challenging as well with Montana. Obviously his closest rival being here tonight. Let's see how they get on, of course, out on track. But it is good to see a 5-bar, 4-bar lobby for the first time in ages here in League of Europe. To go through the constructors as well, Williams are in first on 132 points. I added 10 points extra onto their total. You can tell I failed GCSE maths. Alfa Romeo in second on 112, with AlphaTauri in third on 61, Mercedes in fourth on 37, Ferrari in fifth on 33, Haas in sixth on 32, quite close between those two teams, McLaren in seventh on 27, Renault in eighth on 22, Racing Point in ninth on 20, and Red Bull in 10th on 16. And there's the man of the moment, just joined Alphatrix. He always leaves it late to join the lobby, but he's always here.
Oh, well, I was actually, I was hoping he would join because then it would be a great fight. Now we are readying up, so he really did just get in right at the end to begin the lobby. We've got 20 drivers. It should be a full lobby in the chaotic Azerbaijan street circuit.
It's going to be really intriguing, obviously. We should get going in about 10 seconds' time. No, we're not. We're getting started now, because the timer has just ended pretty much on my end. So we're now getting into qualifying. 18 minutes worth of qualifying, of course. And if I'm not... I forgot how many laps we have around here. Is it 28 laps in total?
I think around Baku we're going to see 26 laps. I think that's what it is. Don't quote me on it, though.
26, 27, 28. Take it on face value. It's one of those three, I think. But it's going to be quite interesting because this track mixes the old city and the new. And where we speak about that, it's one of the only tracks, I think, that's a street circuit, but it's a purpose-built street circuit, to be honest, through a centre of the city, which holds a hell of a lot of great events. Eurovision 2012, I recall very fondly, UK finishing 25th out of 26 countries in the final. Typical of UK, obviously. But yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting race. How do you see qualifying panning out, though?
Well, with qualifying, it really is actually a bit of a mystery to me. This track really can catch some people out, being so close compacted. You can make one mistake and your front wing is gone. So qualifying will be crucial around here. It's really just about getting a clean lap. I'm not sure about the fastest times. I don't even think I've commentated over a league race around Baku since about maybe May or something, so I've really forgotten a lot about this track, but a lot of drivers are coming out to begin that out laps. I think Montana has won the race out.
Montana first out, yeah, Montana is first out on track. He takes prize once again. I think it's the 5th time he's taken it this season. He's got the prize for being the first person out of the pit lane, which isn't too bad at all, but obviously he's second in the championships, not scoring any points last week in Spain. That race in Spain for him, I think from my perspective, it was an absolute disaster because he got caught up in a bit of traffic early on. He got damage on the first couple of laps as well, then made his way through the field. Then I think we had a safety car, if I'm not mistaken. So Montana really had it under the ringer last week. Surely around his favourite track, he's going to do and fare a hell of a lot better.
Absolutely. A lot of drivers hate Spain, and I'm pretty sure Montana, if he didn't hate it, he's now going to hate it, definitely, because after that race he will be forgetting about it completely and just resetting his brain for, of course, his favourite circuit. So hopefully he can pull out a result and score some points over Alpha Trix, but don't count him out. Just because it's Montana's favourite track doesn't mean we should instantly give him the win. I believe the championship rivals are actually 1 and 2 on track right now for starting their laps.
Yeah, it's going to be really fascinating. Obviously, Alpha Trix just in behind Montana out on track. I think the other Williams of Killer Blue is just in behind. Just a pinpoint as well on a car change. Neo has gone Haas. He wasn't due to attend, then turned out today he would attend, so he is in the Haas rather than the Renault. Daka fills in for his seat in the Renault. So just to clarify on that, Montana now through turn 1. Let's ride on board with him as we go through the 20 turns here of the Baku Street Circuit. Now through turn 2, and really hitting on the apex nicely there. Opens up the second DRS zone. Remember, there are 3 DRS zones here in Baku, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, there are. No, there's 2. One down the start-finish straight, one down the back straight, which we're showing now down towards turn 3. I'm getting confused already. Montana on the run down towards turn 4. Been very nice through the first sector. First sector split obviously would have been towards the castle section, but it is now 34.3 through the first sector for Montana. Looking not too bad. There's the flame towers, the famous flame towers that light up the city skyline at night. Montana now through turn 6, and it's looking really good through here as he comes down through the castle section of turns 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Count them up as we go. There's 5 corners towards the top of the hill. That's turn 12, and we're at the highest point of the track now, where the old meets the new as we go past the famous buildings on the right-hand side. Again, the flame towers just to the right-hand side of the driver, but Montana now hitting the curb through turn 14. Can catch people out, but track limits, nothing in the steward's reports about track limits. 13.1 through the middle sector for Montana, so not looking too bad. Expect lap times to be in around the high 136s, low 137s, I think, out on track, as we'll see him now come to the line. Alpha Trix is behind him, I think, out on track as well. It'll be very interesting to see as Montana now opens up that DRS zone. He will reach in excess of 200 mph down the straight. Let's see what he's going to set. Montana to the line, 37 flat. How's Alpha Trix looking in behind? He goes quickest, but only by 200ths of a second. Killer Blue a second off, but first blood to Alpha Trix early on.
I was watching him around his lap. He was about a tenth quicker through the first sector, so he seemed to have dropped off a little bit on his lap, and that just brought him to within 100th ahead of Montana. But Spine is going to the 37s, and so is Rocco, who was my driver of the day last week. He slots himself onto the second row of the grid. We're starting to see a lot of laps come out now. Can anyone dethrone Montana and Alpha Trix?
currently there's a 7/10 gap pretty much between Montana and Rocco for second and third. So honestly, you could see the likes of Neo, I think, slotting in. We've got D. Daniel about to come across the line as well. He's been very consistent in recent weeks. He goes third with a 1:37.733, 400s quicker than Rocco there for the Ferrari. I think Schiaparelli's just gone up into 6th position as well. I've got a little bit of a glitch, by the way. I'm still seeing fastest lap Alpha Tricks on the bottom, which is not great. I want to try and get rid of it, but it's so annoying.
I think if you just pause your game and then come out of it, it'll stop. That seems to be the case for most of my time. It'll go away.
I've pressed it 3 times now, and it doesn't work.
Oh, I think it's just something we're going to have to live with.
Oh, goodness me. Absolutely terrible. There's a Williams just getting out of the way at the top of the hill. Dropier on a lap, the only one not to set a lap time just yet of those who are out on track. Neil, Bolin and Dakar, the other 3. But Dropier 14.6 through the middle sector as he now comes to look through turns 18 and 19 and then through the kink at turn 20. That's 18, that's 19, and now on the run down the straight. A long, kilometre-long straight basically here in Baku. As Dropier now comes towards the line, let's see what he's going to do. He's not going to put it into the pit lane, so Dropier now to the line. Goes slowest out of everyone, 38.6. But it's good to see, actually, 1.6 seconds separating the whole field of those who have set time so far.
Absolutely, and throughout the pack, they're all so close together, like, for 9th position, well, I just can't really see anything. Like, Schiaparelli and Justice are separated by 9 milliseconds there, 9 thousandths of a second. So is the gap between Rocco and Daniel and Verstappen for that case. So they're all so close to each other. And then Montana and Alpha Tricks just run with it at the moment. They seem to be the cream of the crop at the moment.
Yeah, going to be really intriguing to see, obviously, how these guys get on. Alpha Tricks on top, Montana second. Everyone's first laps are pretty much done. But outlaps are now present for Bolin and Dakar, also out on track. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. Bolin, I think we should take a better look at him because he's been quite consistent in recent weeks. Gets the seat in the Racing Point here tonight. I think he's still a reserve, if I'm not mistaken. Bolin has really been proving his worth, and to be honest, he's lining up there with the best of the rest, I think, so far.
Absolutely, he was putting on a great show for us last week. We had so many great battles and that were involving Bolin. I think he was running the Haas car at that point. Now in the Racing Point, so it's going to be a little bit to get used to. But yeah, he should be really proud of himself for his performance last week. He did have to get his elbows out a couple of times, and he did have a couple, but if he could just iron out those mistakes, he can have a really good weekend and get some good points for himself.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see with Bolin. I'm not sure if you're lagging on my end.
Uh-oh. Am I?
Just hearing like a little bit of cutout on your end. I'm not sure if it's my connection or not, but Bolin on the run down towards turn 1. Let's see as we go on board with him. Obviously outlaps for Alpha Tricks and Rocco among the likes as well. Neo is just coming out the pit lane to the left hand side of him, but now Bolin through turn 2. How's the Dutchman going to look through this first sector? Opens up the DRS zone. He's got a car just ahead of him out on track, which is a Red Bull, and I think there'll be Kooky Games on an outlap just ahead of him as now Bolin comes down towards turn 3. You can see how much drivers lock up into there. The blackness of the tyres going through turn 4. Really quite interesting. It does give amount of degradation out on track. Bolin through the first sector, 34.4. Kooky Games, though, has got to get out of the way and does. I thought he was going to get out of the way through turn 5, but he doesn't. And now Bolin down towards turn 7. Let's see how he's going to get on through this middle sector. And he's invalidated. Runs too much on the curb, and Bolin has invalidated, and that is his lap done.
It's unfortunate for Bolin there. I think Kooky Games definitely did put him off a little bit, but the running over the curb was definitely his fault. He did the same thing on his outlap, actually, so I'm surprised he did that, but he's just going to have to live with it. Get in the pits. He's still got 9 minutes to put in a lap, just about over that, so hopefully he will get in a lap and we'll see him in the top 10 at least.
Yeah, turn 7 is one of those corners where if you get it wrong, you really know about it, and that is why we obviously saw we've got Dakar on a lap as well. Kooky Games is getting in the way of him by the looks as well. He might get out of the way, but Dakar is going to have a bit of a bit of a toll really coming through 18 and 19. Kooky Games not getting out of the way. He's preparing for a lap. I'm not sure if he realises that Dakar is on a lap. We've got Alpha Tricks through the final sector as well. We'll come on board with him in just a second. But we're going to see, I think, side by side down the straight at one point, because Dakar now running the slipstream will improve. goes 11th, 38.333. Good lap time from him. Let's see what Alphatrix is doing. In fact, he's in the middle sector, cuts across on the chicane, but he's a tenth and a half up as he runs down the hill in towards turn 16, and then through 17, and he's now 2/10ths up. So Alphatrix already looking theoretically to go into the 36ers here tonight. More than halfway through qualifying, Alphatrix leads. Montana second, Verstappen third. Montana currently on an outlap, so we'll come on board with him in just a second. But Alphatrix now towards the line, opens up the DRS now, reaches in excess of 200 mile an hour. He's got enough ERS to carry him to the line as well. This is a 36 and it's a 36.8, and he didn't really find much of a final sector there, but Alphatrix improves 0.2 of a second, and he's still quickest.
Well, now that shifts our attention over to Montana. He's going to want to respond to that, and at least get close to Alphatrix. If not, ideally he's going to want to be ahead as he's just coming through the first sector. He's got a car just ahead of him. That could be a Red Bull car on AlphaTauri. I'm not too sure. My mini-map, my display isn't the best, but looking like a decent lap. He is improving on this outlap by about 1.5 tenths. So this could be a decent run for Montana. He could maybe jump his championship rival here.
Believe he is second in the world around here in time trial, Montana. He's been beaten by, I think, 0.008 of a second. Toxic, by the way, has gone third. Clips the curb on the inside, does Montana, coming through the castle section. Very close to contact with the wall. Nearly a Charles Leclerc of 2019, but Montana now coming through at the top of the hill, where Grosjean, of course, famously spun under the safety car. Montana now down the hill, in towards 10-14, now towards 15 and 16. Bolin has gone third, 37.4. Good lap from him. Montana, 1800s down. That clip of the wall might have been quite costly. Let's see if he's going to improve. As he now comes through turns 18 and 19. Through the final 3 corners out on track. He might have a faint toe just ahead of him. It might be too much. Verstappen's gone third ahead of Bolin. D. Daniels fifth. There's a lot of improvements, which we'll come on about in just a second. But now Montana, I don't think this is good enough to beat Alphatrix to the line. Let's see. Cross the line. He doesn't improve by much, 0.03 of a second. So Montana up against it, I think, with 6 minutes to go.
Well, that will be a little bit relieving for Alphatrix to see that Montana hasn't been able to beat his lap at the moment. The only driver in the 1:36 36s for that Williams car. So he's doing really well for himself, but Montana definitely did have a couple of mistakes I did notice in that middle sector. And I believe out of turn 12, if I'm not wrong, just at the end of the second sector, he had a little bit of a slide coming out of there when he went over the curb. So definitely time to be found in that lap. But he's only got one more opportunity to do it. So will he snatch pole from Alphatrix, or will it be plain sailing for the Williams team?
Yeah, Alphatrix obviously out in front by 0.2 of a second. I just thought I'd draw your attention, though, to 6th down to 11th. Killer Blue down to Kuki Games is separated by 3700ths of a second between 6 drivers. That is how close it is. And to be honest, third down to 16th is separated by 0.5 of a second. It's insane.
It just shows how competitive this grid is for all the best of the rest spot, whilst they're all scrapping it out. Of course, the 2 leaders running away with the championship, but this is a really good fight for the positions. One mistake on your lap could see you drop from potentially 4th place time all the way down to about 11th or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is going to be one of these sessions, I think. Obviously, we speak about Baku's being quite close in qualifying. That is how close it is physically. 3rd down to 16th, 0.5 of a second covered, and to be honest, 3rd down to 19th, where Baki is covered by just over a second. So it's really, really close out on track. Good evening to everyone that is tuning in, by the way. This is League of Europe Division 1 commentary live for you guys here tonight. Myself, James Head, and Daniel Field taking you through the action as always. And Dan, Alphatrix out on top, Montana second, but fill in the guys who've just tuned into the stream about qualifying so far, with 4 minutes to go.
Well, so far in qualifying, we're seeing a really close fight for 3rd position at the moment. You're seeing about if I could just hang on, if I just change it to gap to the leader, 0.5 off of the leader for Verstappen in 3rd, and then for 18th position, it's 1.4 seconds off the leader. That is an insane gap. That's about 0.9, if my maths is correct, between 3rd and 18th position. You're fitting a lot of cars in that tiny window. I'm really terrible with numbers, but it is an incredible fight so far for the positions off the front row at least. So they're doing really well for themselves having this fray. It looks like a lot of drivers coming out for their outlaps on their final runs, though.
Yeah, possible final runs, to be honest. They might get another crack at the whip here with 3 minutes to go. They might go for 2 laps, these guys coming out. Montana, interestingly, is one of the ones that has came out first out on this outlap. There's a racing point, though, I think, of Bolin that came out first. Daka got... Schiaparelli got held up in the pit lane with Daka coming out of the pit. So teammate holding up his own teammate there, basically. Daka being held... Schiaparelli being held up by Daka coming out the pit lane. How crucial is that going to be? Because that at least cost Schiaparelli, I think, 20 seconds, I would say.
Well, he's going to have to be quick if he wants to actually set a lap. As he's not even out of the box yet from what I'm seeing in the pit lane, so he's really got to be quick about this, fitting on the new tyres and then getting out. The guys who are still in the pits are coming out for their outlaps now, so I think they will have enough time. The cut-off will probably be about maybe 2 minutes, and then you probably won't be able to get out the pits in time for another run, give or take at least in that respect, so they do have to be quick to actually get in an outlap, because you have to run one lap. But Schiaparelli, from what I've seen, isn't out the pits, so this could be really crucial for him. He seems to be the last driver in the box at the moment.
Yeah, he's only got around a 30-second buffer time, to be honest, to get out. And speaking of which, I've just seen him leave his pit garage on the mini-map, so that is good. Schiaparelli going to be the final one out on track. Some all 20 drivers about to do battle once again. With 2 minutes to go in qualifying, Bolin crosses the line. 37.4 is his current best time. He's only 200th of a second off Schiaparelli, give or take. So hopefully he can find a bit of improvement on this lap as the track has evolved significantly since we started qualifying. But Bolin now on the run down towards turn 3. Let's see what the Dutchman can do as we ride on board now. Down into the braking zone of turn 3. In excess of 200 mile an hour. Down into turn 3, just locks up slightly on the front left, but not too bad, as now Bolin reaches turn 4, and again on the front right, just locking up. A driver that is not running any ABS, which is good to see. Bolin through the first sector, he's already a 10th up, so inevitably he could go theoretically ahead of Verstappen currently, but now Bolin halfway through the lap. There's Schiaparelli off to the right hand side as now Bolin comes through turn 7. This is now into the infamous castle section, which can catch quite a few drivers out. It hasn't caught Bolin out as he flies through turns 8, 9, 10, 11, and now up the hill through turn 12, fighting the cars. He comes through turn 12. Beautiful exit though, I've got to be honest. And now at the highest point of the track, let's see what Bolin is going to do in terms of a middle sector as he now runs down the hill in towards turn 14, really clips the curb, doesn't want to override it too much. You can end up spinning and losing a bit of front wing. Bolin through the middle sector, 2/10 up, so he's going to be challenging Montana possibly towards the end of this lap. As now Bolin comes through turns 18 and 19, we've got the big guys as well on laps, Alphatrix and Montana, and I think Alphatrix might be one of the first to come across the line. He's up in the middle sector there. Bolin now towards the line, opens up the DRS once again. Looks like he's got a good straight line speed set up onto the line. He's going to go third, I think, with this. Across the line he does, 37.1, but who's improving behind him? Let's find out. Montana is a 10th up through the middle sector. Let's see what he can do as the Swissman now comes towards the line. D. Daniel has gone 4th ahead of Verstappen. Spine has gone 3rd. There's going to be quite a lot of changes. Keep up if you can. Montana doesn't improve. He goes 2nd, but he doesn't improve. He does improve on his time slightly, but doesn't improve ahead of Alphatrix. And Alphatrix is a 10th up, so Alphatrix looking like he's going to get pole position. Droppier goes into 8th position as well. Alphatrix across the line, 36.7. He improves at 10th up by Alphatrix. Good lap from him. Bolin went 4th. Just trying to ride on board with anybody that might be coming through the final sector. Toxic now to the line. Let's see what the AlphaTauri can do, as quite a few drivers have now came across the line. A couple of them might get other laps. Toxic across the line goes 7th, just in behind his teammate. He's been out-qualified once again by Verstappen. Suku is up in the middle sector. Neo into the pit lane. Rocco now to the line. Your driver of the day last week, Dan. Let's see how he's going to do across the line. Is he going to improve? Yes, he does. He goes 13th. Cohen as well in the final sector. Let's see what the McLaren can do as he comes across the line. While Ouija, that is behind him, I think, out on track. Cohen doesn't improve, while Ouija doesn't improve either. So, not too bad. Montana obviously has finished on his lap. Schiaparelli is 3/10 up. as he now comes through the final two corners. Let's see what he can do. Schiaparelli could be in a chance, maybe even beating Montana. Let's see what the German can do towards the line. Schiaparelli trying to take as little inroads as possible toward the line. He will run it in adjacent to the pit wall. Let's see if he's going to improve. Comes across the line. He goes third, and he's only a 10th off Montana. Not a bad lap there from Schiaparelli. That's everyone done, I think, in qualifying. But it's Alphatrix who takes it, Montana second, and Schiaparelli in third.
Well, Alphatrix almost 2.5 tenths ahead of his nearest rival Montana. Schiaparelli, though, really did have a clean lap there. Most rubbered in run of anyone because he was the last driver out. I was a bit worried that he wasn't actually going to get around to start his final run, but luckily for him, he was able to get in with about maybe 20 seconds to spare, and then he began his lap and managed to put it third on the grid. That is on the second row. Spine in fourth, though, was a good run from him, and Bollen continues to impress in fifth position. Verstappen in sixth after he didn't have a good race, from what I recall. So, yeah, really close throughout the grid as well. The whole field separated by 1.5 seconds.
Wow, that is insane. And I'm just looking further down the field as well. Just Asas and Rocco, same lap time. 37.678, 13th wow. and 14th. Just Asas, I think, gets precedence over that because he set the lap first rather than Rocco. So just Asas 13th, Rocco 14th, and actually Killer Blue down to Kuki Games is separated by 37 hundredths of a second. Where have we seen that time again before? Early on in the session.
Yeah. They've mirrored each other.
Absolute madness, honestly. Bollen as well, and Spine separated by 5 thousandths of a second. Yes. You hear me right, 5 thousandths of a second. We run down the time with 3 seconds to go. Alphatrix then has taken it, and Montana retires with 2 seconds to go in qualifying. How typical. But we'll run you through the grid order in just a second. Alphatrix takes it. Comfortable 2/10 of a second. Montana in second. That's what we like to see, though. The front two in the championship, front two on the grid. Schiaparelli coming in there in third. Good qualifying from him, with Spine in fourth and Bollen in fifth. Ever consistent as usual. Verstappen in sixth, with D. Daniel seventh. Toxic in eighth. Campbell in ninth, and Droppier filling out the top 10. Suku only a thousandth off Droppier in 11th, with Killer Blue in 12th. Just Asas 13th. Rocco 14th. Kuki Games 15th. Neo in 16th. Top 16 separated by less than a second. Cohen, Baki, Waluigi and Daka, they're filling out the top 20 on the grid. But we go straight into the race, and let's speak about the tyre strategy, because the top 10 obviously qualifying on a set of soft compound of tyre. We'll see if it is going to be dry, and it is, but there's a hint of overcast skies there. In terms of the soft compound of tyre around here, those that are starting on that set of soft compound of tyre, how long do you think they'll last before they come into pit? I think it'll be, what, lap 6, lap 7 from about then?
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Then they fit on a set of hard to go to the end. If you're starting outside the top 10, your safest bet is probably to go onto the medium tyres. Run them to, I'd say, maybe about lap 11. That's just a complete guess from me there, but then fit on a set of hards and go to the end. The medium to soft or soft to medium is not a strategy. What I'm interested to see is, with this cloud, if we are going to see some rain, I would expect the guys outside the top 10, that's 11th, 20th, I'd expect them to go on a set of softs if it's soon.
Yeah, it could be the case, but obviously you've got to be wary with these overcast conditions, and with it being so cloudy, the track is not going to evolve as best as what the drivers would hope. So these soft compound of tyres, if they decide to run that set of soft compound of tyres, and looking at the pit stop strategy, lap 6 to 7, exactly what we said for a set of hards, 2 stop, lap 6 to 7 for a set of mediums, and then from about lap 20 onto a set of soft compound of tyre as we rode on board with Alphatrix. But your theory, apart from Suku going on a set of softs, is completely wrong, because everyone's either decided mediums or hards further down the field.
Well, yeah, that was what I was really expecting. I think we've only got one hard run, and that's Cookie Games in 15th position, unless I'm just not looking hard enough. But yeah, he seems to be the only driver on the white wall tyre looking to go late into the race. He's got two options with that tyre. He can either go onto the mediums and not really worry about the tyres, or you can conserve these tyres and go longer into the race and then fit a set of softs to burn them out towards the end and be quicker than anyone else on circuit. It is really going to be a test of his will and his own decision throughout this race. Of course, safety cars can pull. He almost spun the car there.
He
But
did.
it can pull. Yeah. Safety cars are likely around here, given the closeness of the track. There's not really any place where you can run off and get away with making mistakes. So it will be crucial to be perfect around each lap and not make any major mistakes that will put you in the wall.
Yeah, let's hope we don't see any safety cars out on track. I've been riddled with safety cars around Baku before when I've done commentary, and honestly, it is one of those tracks where you could see 3-4 safety cars at least within a race, and possibly a VSC or two as well. But as we now come through the final couple of corners, Alphatrix just leading the pack through turns 18 and 19 as we approach this long 1 kilometre straight that these guys have got to face. It is a short run down towards turn 1, so anybody in behind is going to have to try and make it count. Obviously they've got to be careful as well, because if the ghosting system comes into play, or the fake ghosting system as I'm going to call it comes into play, then contact can still be made. So if you see any ghosting cars through the first couple of corners, then they might make contact still. That is just purely the game. They haven't fixed it just yet. But top 3 from you, Dan, who are you going to go for?
I would go with Alphatrix winning the race, or Montana, one of the two, and at a complete guess, just because we have the same name, I'll go with the Daniel in 3rd position.
That is a terrific analogy, I think, there. D. Daniel, yeah. To be honest, I could see him being up there, to be honest, but I'm going to go no nonsense. I think Montana's going to win this. I think he needs retribution from his disappointment in Spain last week. Alphatrix for 2nd, and I'm going to go Spine for 3rd. I think Spine might have a good race. Watch out for D. Daniel, as you say, within the top 3 possibly as well. The Aramco-sponsored Azerbaijani Grand Prix as my... Oh, I've got a graphics glitch or something as we go... Lights out, and away we go. And Alphatrix gets a very good start. Montana is going to have to cover off, I think, from the Renault of Chapelletti, who tries to go around the outside. That was very strange. My frame just completely dropped off the start. But Alphatrix leads. Montana 2nd, Chapelletti 3rd. Bolin is round the outside of Spine. They're going to go side by side. Everyone looks clean through turns 1 and 2, which is good to see. But now Spine running in behind Bolin as we come down towards turn 3. Bolin cuts across on Spine. They're not in 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th position, as you see there. But now we come through turn 3 for the first time. Kuka Games loses a position to Neo, but that is just bounded back as Kuka Games and Neo fight. We're on board with Spine through the end of the first sector, and it looks like the end of the first sector has not fixed any of the problems at all. Oh, now, there we go. Alphatrix leads Montana 2nd, Chapelletti in 3rd. Halfway through the lap, though, I haven't seen any contact just yet.
No, they all look completely clean through there. I don't know if it happened for you, but as we were starting the race, everything just completely changed. It got so much darker for me. Or something happened there, but
that's what I was complaining
so
about at the start. It was terrible, honestly. Now the sun's out once again. I don't know what happened. My apologies. I think it's the game rather than anybody's connection, I think, out on track. On board with Kuka Games as he rides on board, as he's on the fight with Neil for 15th and 16th, but Alphatrix already away, 1.2 seconds as he now comes round through 18 and 19 for the first time. Alphatrix leads Montana 2nd, Chapelletti 3rd, Bolin in 4th, Spine in 5th. Verstappen's had a good start. He's right on the back of Spine, actually. Let's see if the Dutchman can get any close enough down towards turn 1 on the Swiss man. We've got Droppier trying to close in as well on Campbell, as Alphatrix, of course, sets a new fastest lap of the race at the end of lap 1. As they come now on to lap 2, a little bit of a glitch occurring. We've still got a few ghosting cars, Campbell, Rocco included, but at the end of lap 1, everyone clean through, which is good to see.
Absolutely, we haven't seen a single pit stop coming out, so that leads me to assume that we've got no damage throughout the entire grid. That is something to behold. A clean lap around Baku, you never get that. I don't know who's where. I thought Campbell's in 9th position right now, but it's showing him up on the timing screen as 13th. It's just another glitch that is yet to be fixed. Now I think it's all fixing itself, or something's happening. What's going on?
Blame the game, that's all we can say. Blame the game. There's the correct results. Yeah, Campbell in 9th, Rocco was running in 12th position, so that is the clarification. We are on lap 2, by the way, as well, and there are no blue flags for anybody out on track. As we go through the castle section, we'll flick through actually the castle section. Droppier's on the back of Campbell, but looking through, everyone's clean through the castle section once again for the second time. Daka getting quite close to the wall there with Waluigi, but Alphatrix leading. It was 1.2 seconds at the start of lap 2, Let's see how much that gap is. See if the timings fix themselves into the second sector split. No, we'll have to wait to the end of the lap as Alphatrix leads. Montana second. Almost looks to me, actually, the gap has stayed relatively consistent to what the timings were showing.
Yeah, the Alphatrix isn't really pulling too much out of Montana. I think it might be glitched because they are saying exactly the same for me, the gap between the leaders. It's the entire time it's been glitched.
Yeah, they're changing further down the field. You can see the timings begin to change, but now we've got the official timings back, and it looks like Montana has closed in by 0.2 of a second that last time around. He was fastest out of everyone on the end of lap 2. Droppier, though, on the back of Campbell for 9th and 10th positions. Scotsman against Dutchman, both part of QVR as well. Droppier part, I think, of the academy. Campbell part of the main team. So going to be quite interesting. We might see an internal battle of QVR as Baki has gone through on Kuki Games further down the field, and I think that might have just been a let-through as now Waluigi's on the back as well of Kuki Games, running down in towards turn 3. Not close enough. Everyone, though, running in their own DRS trains, I think, out on track, and no overtake so far, which is disappointing.
I mean, we do want it to be an overtake-filled race, but of course we don't want anyone having issues with each other. And but I think Chapelele might be coming under a bit of pressure soon from Bolin, who's just in that DRS range. He's just 0.3 from not being in DRS, and Chapelele crucially won't actually have the DRS on Montana. He's dropped really far back since his initial good getaway. So Bolin, if he can just have a good final sector. Jeez, that was quite something there. They did a bunny hop.
Yeah, bunny hopped over the curb. Chapelele actually nearly had a half spin, and now that brings Bolin 5.5 tenths off the back of Chapelele as he now comes through 18 and 19. We're about to start lap 3. Montana is just within DRS range as well than Alphatrix. He's 6 tenths off as we come down the straight. DRS now enabled for Bolin. I don't think he's going to be close enough down towards turn 1. You can see him closing in, but he's not using up any overtake mode, and he's just going to stay in position for now. 3rd and 4th remain as they are. Looking further down the field, Neo on the back of Killer Blue, 14th and 15th. Neo tries to go all the way around the outside of Killer Blue. Killer Blue on the inside line dives out of it, and Neo was through. So Neo ran the outside. The German, who's supposed to be in the Renault, in the Haas for one night and one night only, is up into 14th position. I think we saw Waluigi ahead of Kuki Games, and in fact it's side by side coming through turn 2 between these two. Waluigi and Baki, good move there by Baki to hold off the position, but now Waluigi with that DRS is coming back now at Baki. Belgian against Paul. You like to see it further down the field. Waluigi tries to go all the way around the outside of turn 3. Surely not! Round the outside of turn 3. He's on the inside line now for turn 4. Can he get the job done? He sticks his ear in. Oh, goodness me, that was close to contact. Daka is through on Kuki Games and all this as well. He's on the back of Waluigi. I mean, this is a battle for 17th. No points available, but only for pride, and this is the best battle we've seen so far.
That was quite some scrap that we saw there. The confidence that Waluigi had on Baki there to try and go around the outside. A lot of drivers wouldn't try and make that move, but Waluigi just decided, you know, we're not fighting for too much, let's just have a bit of fun. He tried going for it. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the move off as Baki then held him around the outside. So that was a really good bit of defending from I think he's Polish, is Baki. Yep. So he did a really good job to defend from Waluigi there. Really great fight. Kuki Games with a 3-second time penalty over the curve at turn 14 there. So really unlucky for him.
Montana, interestingly, running out of the slipstream here on Alphatrix, running down the straight. It's 0.3 of a second the gap, but Montana has just eased into contention. He's got 35% of ERS. Bolin, however, into the pits early. So that's a very early pit stop from Bolin. Let's see where he's going to drop down. He will, of course, come out at the back of the field, but now Bolin into the pit stops. Too early, surely, for set of hards. He's committing 2 stop, I think. Mediums and then softs, possibly.
That is quite an interesting strategy call, actually. He will be the quickest driver on track at the moment, I would think, but now he's going to have traffic from Kuki and Daka and all those guys fighting for the lower positions. Once he gets through them, he's going to have a little bit of clear air to the massive train. Actually, as I say massive, it's only 2 cars. Then he'll get up to the massive train that is stemming from about 5th position at the moment, or 4th actually. So yeah, he's really going to be in a bit of trouble if he doesn't get clear these guys as soon as possible. Odd strategy choice. I wouldn't have gone for the 2-stop strategy. Make as minimal pit stops as you can, but I guess he's going to commit to that. So we'll see some good pace from Bolin.
Yeah, Bolin, quite an interesting strategy, as you say. He is in clear air. He's now joining on and latching onto the back of a battle for 16th with Baki, Waluigi, who are going to be committing further on in the race. Just on board with the battle for the lead as well. Montana's lost a tenth of a second through the middle sector on Alphatrix, and now has lost another tenth of a second to Alphatrix as well. So it's now 8/10 of a second the gap. Bolin, however, is through on Kuki Games, who I think got very leery at the top of the hill, and I think he's got right side end plate damage, and he clips the wall again. If he didn't have right side end plate damage then, he certainly got it now, and yes he has. He's got right side end plate damage, which I think he caught on the exit of turn 12. Front two are in.
A lot of drives coming in actually at the moment. The top two coming into the box. I was just going to say that Cookie Games actually got it through the castle section where he spun a little bit. He did a half spin, tried to correct himself, and he got a bit of wing damage. So really unfortunate, especially since he's on the hard tyres. He can't go on to another set of the whiteboard tyres to run to the end.
Montana has came out in a right gaggle of traffic here as well. Alphatrix is just going to be ahead, and this is disastrous now for Montana. He might have just tried to go another lap on these tyres, but now he's in a DRS train. He's going to try and make light work of Waluigi. He uses the overtake mode to try and get past him. He's on the inside line now, running down in towards turn 3. He gets the move done, so Montana is through on 1. He needs backing now to get to the back of Alphatrix, and to be honest, I don't think these guys will put up too much of a fight, because knowing now Montana is in a fight, he is in 14th position. Kuki Games, by the way, came into the pits along with Killer Blue, I believe, on that lap as well. And Killer Blue 19th, Kuki Games 20th, out on track. Bolin on the back of Daka, going side by side, down the inside. He goes into turn 7. Not a natural place for overtaking, but he makes it look pretty easy. Bolin on a fresh set of tyres is hammering his way through the field. He's up into 16th position for now, but how important is that? Because he's only 1.5 seconds off the back of Montana.
Of course, you do have to consider that he is on the medium tyre, so he's going to have a lot more pace, but he probably can't run to the end on this yellow wall set. He had a bit of a half spin after he made the overtake, and he's gone into the wall, and he's got damage there, and that is completely unravelled his race now. I believe he's got damage here, you can see on his end plate, and so unfortunate for Bolin. He had such great pace, but now there's no way he can run around Baku with wing damage. He's got to come to the pits again.
Such a shame. Pit window now open as we go on to lap 70. Daniel will be right on board into the pit lane. Everyone, I think, committing into a one-stop for a set of hard compound of tyres. Campbell, in fact, and Verstappen have gone on to a set of medium compound of tyres. So that could be quite interesting. They look like they're committing to a two-stop. Maybe they know something that we don't. We don't get told by these drivers if it's going to be raining or anything out on track. So these guys might be preempting the inevitable later on in the race. But who knows? Don't ask me, ask some of the drivers out on track. But don't ask them, they're concentrating, if you know what I mean.
Well, Chapelele moves past his teammate for 12th position. He lost quite a lot of time behind his teammate, of course, being Daka. So unfortunate for Chapelele, but on the fresh set hards, he's got some clear air. He's going to close up to Waluigi pretty quickly. Then he's got to clear those guys running in a net P3 at the moment. Not too far behind Montana and Alphatrix. If they have incidents later in the race, he could be waiting in the shadows and just come out of nowhere to take a good position.
Yeah, I think honestly, Chapelele down in there in 12th position. Obviously, we saw some of the other guys as well come into the pit lane. The tyres, by the way, are not updating, I think, for those guys who have came into the pit lane. So it looks like they might have a bit of a botched lobby in terms of spectator cam anyways. For these guys, it'll be absolutely fine. Just Asas, by the way, on the back of Suku. Now, this is an interesting battle because Just Asas is on a set of mediums, Suku on a set of softs. And I've got to be honest, we're seeing the point now is I think it looks like the front three are going to come into the pits, and they are indeed, so the front three are in. Just Asas now promotes into the lead of the race, but now he's on a set of mediums. Expect him to go around about 13 laps into the race, possibly. We've got Spine and Verstappen going side by side, running the straight. How close is that running down the straight as we ride on board? Spine and Verstappen. Verstappen to the outside line, just trying to out-drag the car. Later on the brakes he goes, trying to go around the outside, on board with Spine. Spine forced him offline slightly. Verstappen now still on the outside line, coming through turn 2. He backs off, and Spine just about, I think, holds on to the position. position on a set of hards, but now Verstappen gets a superior run out of turn 2. He could try and run the slipstream as well of his teammate. It's going to be literally hammer and tongs down in towards turn 3. Spine will have to back out of this, surely. Verstappen is through down the inside on a set of mediums. He's through and he's up into 11th position, but that honestly was the best battle I think I've seen in Baku on the game so far, and I haven't commentated on the game around here so far either.
Commitment and bravery from the both of them there. To quote James Allen, you could put a cigarette paper between those two cars. I always wanted to say that one. I loved that fight, was loving every moment of it. Verstappen coming out on top, but you have to credit Spine for holding up the fight as well. Great driving from the two of them, and Verstappen will be pleased with that one. He's got Daka ahead of him, both being QBR drivers. Hopefully they can show a bit of respect to each other, and Daka will try not to hold him up too much. Verstappen's now right on the back of Schiaparelli actually, in terms of track position, so he could be in a developing fight for him, but he might not go to the end on those tyres.
Yeah, Verstappen, remember, on a set of mediums and Schiaparelli on that set of hards. Daka now not going to make it look too easy, I think, for Verstappen, but you can already see where this is going to go. I mean, he doesn't even need the DRS to get past. Verstappen through on Daka then for 10th position out on track. Daka now runs back into the slipstream. He's actually coming back at him by the looks down towards turn 1. Baki is through on Malwigi just in the front of camera shot there. He is through and he's up into 7th position, but Verstappen holds on to 10th. Spine and Di Danielo and Campbell and Toxic and Droppier all latching on to the back of what is now, what, an 8-9 car gaggle, I would say. Here's Schiaparelli passing Waluigi just as easy as that, to be honest. Down the inside he goes. Could try it down, and Baki, oh, very close to the back of him. And Spine trying to hold it on the inside line. A little bit of contact, and in fact Spine, I think, has just picked up front wing damage, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, right side end plate damage off a slight collision, I think, with Daka going into turn 3. It looked very minimal, the contact, but it's enough to give a right side end plate damage as Campbell tries to launch it down the inside of D. Daniel, coming through turn 6. Goodness me, he tried that one, but he doesn't get past, and now Toxic and Droppier's gone into the back of Toxic. I'm not sure if there was any front wing damage flying off there. There wasn't, but very close for my liking, and certainly for your liking as well, Dan.
But they're all getting a bit feisty down there in the lower positions right now, still in a net points position. It won't be too long before we see the top 4 come into the pits and Alphatrix be released back into the lead of the Grand Prix. But yeah, really getting rated down there for the positions, of course. I don't know if anyone got damage in that fray. I'm actually lost for words at the moment. I have no clue what's going on with anything. I think Cookie Games, yeah.
Round through turn 12, that is, at the top of the hill, highest point on the track. Alphatrix is through on Neo. Neo actually comes into the pit lane, and I wonder if this is going to be for a set of hard compounded tyres. In the meantime, Schiaparelli is side by side with Baki. Baki on the outside line, and Schiaparelli, as you see, cuts across on Baki. Although the camera angle didn't prove it, Baki is now down into 7th. Schiaparelli through, and he's up into 6th position. And actually, Schiaparelli running in a net P3, and Verstappen, this is a good bit of teamwork, I think, actually, from Schiaparelli. He's going to go to the end, hopefully, on those set of tyres. Verstappen on a set of mediums is now stuck in a little bit of traffic in behind these two. Baki and Waluigi, Schiaparelli will be hoping that Baki and Waluigi can hold him up as long as possible so we can get that gap out and gap him towards the end of the race as well.
Well, yeah, I was seeing a couple of laps ago when Baki and Waluigi were actually fighting themselves. It was holding up Schiaparelli, and that's why we're seeing a 6-second gap between Montana and Schiaparelli. They've really gone away from them. Montana actually does have Cohen in between him and Alphatrix. That will cause a little bit of concern for the Alfa Romeo driver, but it shouldn't be too difficult to get by Cohen. He might actually come in as soon as possible. But now it's opening about maybe about 1.5 seconds between Alphatrix and Montana, so Cohen really proving some struggle for him.
Campbell and D. Daniel side by side at the top of the hill, and Campbell's round the outside of D. Daniel. That's through turn 14 at the top of the hill. Absolutely unreal racing between them both. I've never, ever seen an overtake or a battle like that between any drivers around there in Baku. But fantastic stuff. Campbell back through on D. Daniel. They were having a ding-dong. It got so close. Montana is through on Cohen. Verstappen is through on Waluigi. Now here comes Campbell on the back. This is Who is this? Verstappen passing Waluigi. Cameras have totally failed me as we run down towards turn 1. Daniel now down the inside line. He's under attack from Spine around the outside. But brilliant racing. Sorry to cut in on you, Dan. I had to get that in.
I was waffling about nothing. I just switched over to them two. Right as he made the overtake. Remember how you were saying that Spine and Verstappen had the best battle?
Oh, three wide to turn 3. Droppier's down the inside of both of them. Brilliant move by Droppier. That is characteristic of the Dutchman. He is through and he's up into P13. But my God, 3 wide into turn 3. The cameras did not give that justice there at all. Droppier down the inside of both Toxic and Spine. He got the double toe. He got the run. He's through and he's up into P13. And actually, speaking about longer term, I think that's for a net P6 out on track.
I think so too. Now he's actually just picked up a 3-second time penalty there, so that's going to hamper him a little bit, but really getting racy down there for the points paying positions. Of course, they're still waiting for a couple of drivers to come into the pit lane. What a race we've seen so far, battles throughout the field. And it's been so entertaining to watch this one unfold today. I think Cookie Games he's actually going to go onto the softs. He might be retiring here. Yeah, there he is. So he's the first driver out of the race. And luckily, we shouldn't see a safety car for that because it was in the pit lane. Here comes Verstappen now on Baki. Both QBR drivers, as we've mentioned before. And Baki shouldn't make this too difficult for Verstappen. He's going to move into 7th position. Now it's only air between Chapelele and Verstappen. The gap is 7/10 of a second. Baki's going to drop out there. Back out there now. Campbell moves by Dakar.
Daniel trying to go around the inside of Dakar as well through turn 1, very close to the back of him. He's on a set of hard compound of tyres, so he's going to be challenging later on in the race. Droppier and Toxic have now joined onto the back of this ever-increasing DRS train. 5 cars now separated by about 1.5 seconds out on track. Spine, by the way, is into the pit lane to replace his front wing damage. Droppier and Toxic getting close, but not close enough to the back of Daniel. What a race it's been. We're only through 12 laps. It's just Asasu lead. Sorry to the guys that we're not riding on board with, by the way. I feel so sorry for you guys not getting any airtime. We will give you airtime at some point, but there's just so much happening out on track. We cannot purely give airtime to everyone. It has been one of those races. Baku is delivering big time here, and honestly, so far, this is the race of the season for me.
Well, a lot of people do use the phrase "well done, Baku" in a sarcastic way. But you know what? I'm going to say it wholeheartedly. Well done, Baku. You have delivered us such an amazing race so far, and it is not even halfway through. It has been so great to watch. Justice and Rocco, whilst they're not being the quickest driver on track right now, they'll be able to fit a new set of tyres and will be probably challenging a lot closer to the end. So we'll be seeing them in due time. I think Rocco will actually be the one coming to the pits. So we're just going to see Justice lead the race in clear air. Alphatrix now moves into 2nd position. Montana into 3rd, so they're back onto the podium, the 2 leaders.
Verstappen and Chapelele side by side. I think Verstappen's got the run down the inside line, even with 50% energy usage. Verstappen through and he's up into P5, passing Chapelele on that side of hard. And now, Dakar and Daniel round 2 again. This time Daniel, I think, has got the run. Droppier tries to follow in the slipstream of Daniel. Going to be very tight into turn 2. Side by side, Daniel catches the curve on the inside, forces Dakar nearly into the wall. But now Droppier, he's not going to try and go 3 wide once again, as he knows Daniel shoots away. And Droppier now not using up any overtake mode. He's running out of the ERS. He gets the move done. Toxic trying to fight behind Dakar as well. This is a phenomenal battle. Look who has joined in this as well. Toxic down the inside through turn 4. Can he get the move done on Dakar? It's side by side. Not quite, but Rocco has joined into the fight as well. Fresh out the pit lane. He tries to go. Right in behind us, Toxic tries to go on the inside line through turn 7. It's still side by side between the Scotsman and the Brit. And now Rocco's through on Dakar. And Rocco could get Toxic. Not quite. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant racing. Toxic through, he's up to 12. Rocco through and he's up to 13. Dakar, I think, to be honest, those tyres are beginning to hit their cliff point, to be honest, and they're beginning to go.
Yeah, 5 drivers yet to come into the pits. He is definitely going to be right on the edge of his tyre life, and proven to be a bit of a mobile chicane. I don't like to say it like that, but it really is quite true. He's being overtaken left, right and centre. So hopefully, for the sake of his race, he'll come in as soon as possible to change the tyres. I think we are starting to see a couple gaps forming. We're not seeing a massive train like we were before, but that doesn't mean the action stops there, as I believe that the drop here might have a good run onto Daniel. I don't think he'll be close enough to make a move, but that could be another fight shaping up throughout this race as he opens the DRS. Don't think, because the Daniel actually does have the DRS himself, that he'll be challenging there.
Rocco through on Toxic just in behind. His pit window actually open for Rocco. That was to go, if he was to go 2-stop, obviously he's going to go 1-stop out on track. So don't trust the AWS graphics to the right hand side, even though they're hidden behind the track map. Oh, as Toxic I think hit the wall there, coming through turn 2, and he's got right side end plate damage. I thought I saw a bit of end plate damage off that car, but Toxic hit the wall just in the background of shot, and it's enough to give him right side end plate damage. And now he's going to be like Spine, I think, dropping through the field. I think bail out now while you've got the chance is the best way.
Absolutely, and whilst all that was going on, Chapelele managed to move past Verstappen. Those 7-lap old hards are definitely going to be coming up to temperature. Verstappen might start to feel the tyres go off a little bit, and I think they'll be equal running on the tyre life, so the advantage that Verstappen had is probably going to be nullified soon, and they'll be on level pegging throughout the rest of the race, I would think. But of course, this race has provided us with so many surprises already. Both these guys don't have much ERS, so it will just be a game of raw power. I think the closest gap we have on track is actually between Suku and Daka. Suku's got a really good run on him. He's not going to look to the inside of turn 14. And yeah, that is not going to be a fight that will provide too much interest. But look at this, dropped you right on the back of Daniel here.
Just Asas in from the lead of the race, however, so he's going to be going on. Well, he's on set of mediums, he has to go set of hards. He's got to commit now to that set of hard compound of tyres. But to be honest, I think he's overcutted quite nicely here, because he's going to be at least in the top 10 on exit of the pit lane here. There are the guys coming to the right hand side. There's Baki, there's Waluigi. He's going to be out in 8th position, I think, coming out into the pit lane. So just Asas has really managed these tyres to absolute perfection, and now he has overcutted rather than undercutted on pretty much about half the field, and just Asas is just trying to get those heat into the tyres, but he's also trying to say to Waluigi, I'm here, I'm not going to be here for that long because I'm going to overtake you.
Yeah, well, everyone was fighting throughout the grid. Just Asus managing to just stay in some clear air by himself and have a great run on his mediums. Then obviously he managed the tyres really well, and now on the hard compounder tyres. He's not got long in the race left to keep up, to catch up to the guys in the front fighting for the podium. But you know what? He is certainly in that position now. Bonham retires in the pit lane, so that makes 2 casualties in this Grand Prix. Hopefully no safety car for that. I don't think there should be, but the game does like to throw some glitches at us.
Yeah, Bolin, unfortunate. He was running actually quite nicely behind Spine, so I wonder if there's been some sort of mistake there out on track for Bolin. It might be mentality, you never know with these drivers. Hopefully we'll get some words in the Discord after. But, just Asas, with these guys, Verstappen might not get to the end of the race on those tyres, on a set of mediums. Baki and Waluigi still have to pit. Cohen still has to pit. It's just Asas on for top 3 finish here, possibly.
Well, he's certainly in the fray for it. He's got 8 laps fresher tyres than Chapelele does. He's now crossing the line to begin lap number 16, so we've got 11 laps left to go in this race. Justus can actually really put in a shift in this race. In 8th position is already some great points for him, so it's just about maximising that, running as consistently as possible. But I believe that Baki and Waluigi, who have somehow done 15 laps on the mediums, they're probably going to go to a set of softs if they're lucky enough to actually be able to run those tyres to the end. Probably not, but so I can dream, you know.
You can dream. I think, honestly, if Baki and Waluigi stay to about lap 19, they're going to be fine, I think, to go on to a set of soft compound tyres, because they normally last around 7 or 8 laps before they begin to really wear off around here, and that's for a full stint on a set of soft compound of tyres. So, essentially think of it this way. If Waluigi and Baki don't... yeah, if Waluigi and Baki don't pit in, they're going to be going set-a-softs to the end of the race. I think, to be honest, they're committed now to that strategy rather than anything else as well. Waluigi actually nearly clips the curb and the wall coming through the exit of the castle section through turn 10. And now that brings Campbell into play on Just Asos. Campbell doing well on a set of mediums. Droppier equally doing well on a set of medium compound tyres as well. The gap for the lead, by the way, 1.5 seconds has pretty much been quite still. As now Droppier is out of the slipstream on Campbell. I thought he was going to go for a move down the inside into turn 16, but he doesn't. So Droppier hanging on in 10th position. Campbell hanging on in 9th. As well, they stay as they are. So run down the straight. I don't think anybody is going to be close enough for an overtake. Rocco might be on the back of D. Daniel. Just got to be careful on his ERS management though. He's running less than 10%. So he's only going to be getting 50% of energy usage down the straight. As now Droppier closes in on Campbell, but again is not close enough. So we can see no overtakes there. We could see an overtake into turn 2. He might wait for the DRS out of turn 3. Dakar is finally into the pit lane on 16-lap old mediums, and now Droppier right on the back of Campbell. My voice is going, but I'm going to try and keep on going through. Just Asos on the back of Waluigi, not going to be close enough, and we're not going to see any position changes at all. But Chapelletti's on the back of Cohen for third.
Well, running 16 laps on the medium tyres for Cohen right now. Shouldn't be too much of an issue for Chapelletti. I've actually just accidentally pressed the home button, but I saw Chapelletti weaving a little bit. Might be trying to signal to Cohen that, hey, I've got my rival right behind me for a podium position. Could you please get out the way and try and not hold me up too much here? I think Cohen is due a pit stop very soon. His tyres will definitely be going off the cliff at this point. But with this McLaren holding up Chapelletti here, it's actually inviting Verstappen back into the fray. And a little bit of a half spin for Chapelletti coming off of turn 14. That's going to invite Verstappen in even more. But Chapelletti will get the DRS on Cohen, who gets a really bad run out of I don't know if the corner name a number, I think it's turn 15.
Yeah, Chapelletti on the back of Cohen, Verstappen as well on the back of Chapelletti as well. So a three-way battle running down the straight. It could be coming two-way because it looks like Cohen is looking towards the pit lane. He is. Give Chapelletti the boost to try and keep away on Verstappen, and he does, but we are going to see overtakes possibly happening here. While Waluigi on the back of Just Asos, Droppier and Campbell have swapped position. Here comes Just Asos down the inside on Waluigi, and he's got the move done. Down the inside he goes. Waluigi did not fight that. He'll be coming into the pits next lap, I think. So Just Asos is through, and he's up into 6th position. And who on earth was that going wide through turn 1? Was that Toxic going wide through turn 1? Who nearly hit the wall on the exit? Goodness me, that was close to the wall. He gets away with it. Luckily, D. Daniel on the back now of Campbell trying to fight his way through, but not close enough. Baki all the way back now to Toxic, covered by 2.5 seconds out on track.
Well, this is the race that is just giving more gifts. This guy joined last week, didn't he? This guy joined last week, yeah. Rocco down the inside of Toxic's already cut in. They're side by side, and actually side by side between Droppier and Waluigi as well. He's down the inside. Droppier is through, and he's up into 7th. Rocco through. Fair play to him. He's on a set of hards. He gets through on Toxic, and he's through into 11th position. And Toxic into the back, and Rocco crash. Rocco and Toxic. Toxic into the back. It just gave Rocco the momentum, the overspeed essentially from Toxic's punt in the back. Him into the wall as well. They're both running their own races. They're both friends as well. That is the hardest thing to take. Suku's trying to look to the inside line now on Toxic, trying to get the move done. He doesn't, but he's now through and he's up. Well, he should be up now into P12, hopefully down into turn 15. Yes, there goes Suku through, and I think Neo will go through as well. Yeah, Toxic. I don't think Happy, he just overcommitted himself, I think, went into the back of Rocco. Rocco then in turn had overspeed. Chapelletti and Verstappen now side by side for turn 1, but not quite close enough. Goodness me, take over. Lap 19 out of 26, Alpha Trix leads Montana second, gap 1.1 seconds. Well, now the last of the medium runners coming into the pit lane, Waluigi and Baki, who've been catalysts in the fight, and now a virtual safety car coming out for Toxic. Where's he lost that?
Toxic has not lost it anywhere out on... Oh, has he actually? No, he's retired in the pit lane, I think.
I
think he's retired in the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you know what that does, though? That helps all of the guys who've just come in for the soft tyres, because it brings them into the fight just a little bit more. They are still quite far off the back of any real points at the moment, but with that VSE coming out, everyone has to go at a reduced rate, so they can get a little bit closer on the soft tyres and can really challenge towards the end of the race.
Yeah, these guys obviously on a set of softs going to be at an advantage. I feel sorry for Killer Blue, to be honest. He's in amongst a soft sandwich out on track with Baki and Waluigi just fresh out the pit lane. And what have you seen?
Killer Blue's just gone right into the back of Baki there. He's got wing damage on that Williams car, so well, I don't think he'll be in the soft sandwich too much longer because he's probably going to have come into the pit or be overtaken by all of them.
I did not see that. It's a good spot. Killer Blue actually, he goes into the wall through the castle section. That could have easily been a safety car. And do you know what? I would love to see a safety car, if I've got to be honest. I want one. I don't want any of these drivers to fall out the race, but a safety car would really heat things up. Waluigi has been overtaken by Rocco. Droppier now, though, on the back of just Asas. This is the 5th and 6th position out on track, and actually it gives the medium runners a bit of room to play with. Verstappen might not get to the end, but Droppier and Campbell, I think, will now. They're going to be on, 17, 18 lap worth old tyres towards the end of the race. Droppier on the back of just Asas, not getting the move done, and now Suku under attack from Neo. And again, not close enough for 9th or 10th position. Have you ever seen a Ferrari do well around here this season?
Well, in real life or in
life?
LOE? In real life? Oh, they're terrible.
Exactly. D. Daniel Suku, 8th and 9th, currently. Yeah. So get these two hired.
Yeah, come on, Ferrari. Just sign these two up. Bin off Sainz and Leclerc. Get D. Daniel and Suku in that seat for 2021. I'd love to see them two in a real life F1 seat.
That'd be fantastic. They're doing really well out on track as well. They came in early on in the race on a set of hard compound of tyres. So D. Daniel and Suku going to be managing to the end of the race. My concern, though, further up the field, is Verstappen on the back of Schiaparelli. The gap is 9 tenths. Now, Verstappen would have been... I think they're going to be operating at around the same temperature in terms of the tyres now and in terms of tyre wear as well. So Verstappen has only got now, I think, 2 laps remaining really on that stint of tyres before they really begin to go over the edge and they begin to go off the cliff. So he's got 8 tenths now to the back of Schiaparelli. Montana, as well, is on the back of Alphatrix. This is for 1st and 2nd out on track. And Montana, he's picked up the pace and he's beginning to get on with things now out on track, it seems.
Could we see the battle to end all battles on the final lap of the race? We've had so many great frays in this race, and here comes Daniel to the outside at turn number 1 on Campbell. I just had to look at that there, and Campbell manages to hold him off. Daniel, though, will have the DRS for the next corner coming into turn number 2. No moves there. He's got so much more ERS to play with, and now he's going to knock it up into overtake here. Got the slipstream, got the ERS power. He doesn't even need it. He switches it down, and this should be the move done for Di Daniel up the inside into turn number 3. The Ferrari against Mercedes, the 2017 fight coming back into picture now in LOE. What a great move from Daniel. Easy, tidy, and comfortable.
Yeah, really nice move by D. Daniel. He's one of the drivers so far this season that has really impressed me in terms of racecraft and in terms of professionality out on track. And D. Daniel certainly has been one of those guys. He might get involved in a couple of incidents. I think certainly in the last couple of races he has. But D. Daniel has been consistent. He's been professional out on track. And that move was just characteristic of him, I think. And now 2.5 seconds to Droppier. I'm concerned about that gap, to be honest. I don't think he'll get that gap down on the back of Droppier unless Droppier's tyres drop off the cliff, and I intend to use that pun quite lightly there.
Well, through turn 15 there, he's right on the back of the Mercedes car. We've seen one Mercedes getting overtaken on this lap, and we might see another one as he's got plenty of ERS to play with. Does Droppier. Hardly anything for Justices. This could be an easy move for the McLaren driver.
Verstappen nearly going down the inside of Schiaparelli as well. Montana has lost time. I think he's had a half spin out of turn 2. I just cut off that battle just slightly there. And Montana has lost now time to the back of Alphatrix. I'm not sure what happened. Is there any damage on that car? No, he's got away. Whatever it was, got through with a Verstappen. Now, to the outside line, it seems on Chapelelli. Gets the job done. He was on the inside line, actually, down in towards turn 3. But now Chapelelli's going to have a fight back through turn 4. Not quite close enough, though. And Verstappen holds for P3. Chapelelli for P4. Droppier as well on the back of just Asas for P5. Really beginning to spread out this field, but it's really beginning to hot up as well with 4.5 laps to go, basically, out on track.
Yeah, it was a nice, clean move for Verstappen. Chapelelli trying to make his car as wide as possible, sitting in the middle of the track. Verstappen said, alright, I'll go to the outside, pulled a dummy and went to the inside. It was a clean move on Chapelelli, who's now on the back foot a little bit, but Verstappen's tyres are not going to be too far off of decaying and going completely off the cliff, so Chapelelli just has to keep his wits about him, and he's got a much better run through the corner, actually. I think Verstappen almost had a spin there.
He did. I thought he had right side end plate damage actually coming down the hill, but he doesn't. Verstappen in third, Chapelelli in fourth. These two are going to fight for this final podium finish, and to be honest, it is going to be between those two now out on track for that podium finish, because just Asas and Droppier are 6.3 seconds off the back. Now Chapelelli, 24% of ERS at his disposal, is just going to absolutely sail on by as if Verstappen was not there, and if he didn't see him, Chapelelli is through for the easiest move of the race so far. He's through, he's up to third, and Droppier now is through on just Asas. They swap positions once again, Droppier through, and he's up into fifth position. Almost looks like, to be honest, Droppier's mediums are beginning to come into play and get their second life before they begin to go off.
Yeah, I think he'll have some pretty good pace towards the end of the race. He's definitely not going to try and take too much of that out of them this time by, though. So hopefully he could just conserve them a little bit longer. But if Waluigi and Baki can take their tyres to about lap 19, he can certainly take them a few more laps. As they're only 14 laps old at the moment. I think he was on a soft medium strategy, so we were saying it wasn't possible. Well, they've proved us wrong, haven't they?
They have proved us wrong, and to be honest, I think that's just characteristic of our poor strategy calls around here, to be honest, in Baku. Because I haven't commentated around this track, I don't think you have either, so we were just pretty much at a guessing game. It was like trying to answer the £1 million question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but still, I love that show as well. Alphatrix leads the way, 1.2 seconds the gap for Montana in second. Chapelelli very close to the wall there, brings Verstappen now back into DRS zone with 3 more laps to go as we come across the line. Montana 5% of ERS, Alphatrix is on 14% of ERS, and it looks like Alphatrix is going to be picking up his 4th win of the season. And get this, if he wins out on track tonight, he's going to be a treble race winner. The last 3 races would have went Alphatrix's way in terms of the championship. How important is that?
Oh, so crucial for the championship, pulling out his gap even more to Montana to above a win. So even if Alphatrix doesn't get any points next race and if Montana wins, he still won't lose the championship lead, so it's a really comfortable gap to have if he can take the win here. It's not over yet, but Montana seems to be struggling. That Alphatrix might have saved his tyres a little bit more while Montana was pushing, and he just used the track to his advantage by making himself as wide as possible, not letting the Alfa Romeo driver in. But yeah, he's done really well today, and he might have a secure win.
Yeah, I think he will. Alphatrix obviously 1.3 seconds. I'm not sure if you cut out there for just a second, but that might have been my Wi-Fi coming back on. But Alphatrix leading the way, Montana second, Chapelelli third, Verstappen in 4th. You are still here, aren't you?
I am here, hi.
You are? Yeah, good. You just cut out right at the end of the sentence then. I was thinking it's my Wi-Fi, but it's not. I'm not on Wi-Fi connection. That's what I was thinking. But just Asas on the back of Droppier for 5th position out on track with only 2 more laps to go. Well, Luigi looks like he's committed for a fastest lap of the race run. Could bring Killer Blue and Daka possibly into the pits with him for that run as well. But just Asas on the back. It's gone a little bit stale, to be honest, these final couple of laps.
Well, that is just what you kind of expect. Once everyone else is starting to struggle a little bit, you're not going to see the hot-headed fights that we've seen earlier on. We've still got some decent fights going on throughout the grid, I guess. Just there's this right on the back of Dropcha, and he's got a really good run out of turn 20, so he will be brought into the fight just a little bit more as they start the 25th lap. Definitely won't be close enough to make an overtake into turn 1, but he is right on the rear. He can see Husky Chocolate there, and I'm sure that Dropcha will be looking into his mirrors.
Husky Chocolate? What is Husky Chocolate?
It's the sponsor.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't even notice.
On the McLaren wing.
I didn't even notice. You can tell how much I'm in touch with Formula 1 these days. Terrible.
I wasn't just calling him Husky Chocolate.
Oh, that's absolutely terrible. Dropcha still hanging on though in 5th position. Just ASAS in 6th. That's probably the funniest moment we've had in the commentary box so far by an absolute mile. But, oh... Just ASAS. D. Daniel's trying to get a little bit closer, 2.6 seconds in behind out on track. Montana as well, just a second off. I'm looking at actually some of the comments that are coming through. If you've liked the stream so far and you like what you've seen, like, comment, subscribe, tick the notification bell, of course, if you are new. I'll remind that at the end. But Larkin's been saying 20 drivers starting, 17 going, testament to this great division, especially when 18 of them know they have no chance of winning. He's on holiday at the minute. He'll be back next week.
Ugly stuff. Montana has run out of ERS down the straight. These guys have 5% but actually, so really they've taken it all out of the car. But now the gap is 0.5 of a second on the final lap. Could we see a photo finish if Montana put together a perfect lap?
Oh, do not say if we're going to see a photo finish, because I've already seen one around here at Baku before, and I've commentated on it, and it was between Blizzard and Toxic in TTML Formula 2 last season, and it was about 0.02 of a second, I think, separating the guys out on track at the line, which is unreal. I don't think we're going to see that though, because Montana is running less ERS than Alphatrix. In fact, actually, they're running same ERS. I beg to differ. So Montana could have a run. I think save up the ERS, have a crack at him going down the hill, then have a crack at him down the straight. Montana might be in touching distance of a possible race win. I'm not sure about the penalties. Really flying through there, Montana. Gains a 10th through the castle section, trying to lay it all on the line. These two, of course, very close in the championship. Alphatrix leading by 25 points into tonight. Montana is in second. Chapelelli will finish in third. Bearing as it is, he's had his best race of the season so far and his best race in LOE for a while as well. Ouija picks up the fastest lap of the race, but we now run down in towards turn 16 for the final time, and Montana is only 6 tenths away. 6 tenths is good enough to do it, but Montana now has got to use up that ERS as much as possible. Now he's got to save it through the corners. Alphatrix is getting away, 0.7 of a second. I don't think Montana's going to catch. He's using every last ounce of that ERS. It's not going to be good enough though. Alphatrix is going to come across the line. The gap is closing down, but Alphatrix wins. He went back by 0.3 of a second. Montana closing them down all the way to the line. Fantastic race in behind. Chapelelli finishing in third, and he's about to come across the line to take that third position out on track. His best result in League of Europe for a while. Verstappen across the line in fourth. We've got side by side, we could get a photo finish between Suku and Neo. Further down the field, Neo is just going to snatch it from Suku, I think. Suku back into the slipstream. It could be a photo finish. Suku's going to get him, you know. Suku has just got Neo on the line. Brilliant. For 9th position on the grid, Suku gets 10th past Neo. Photo finish, if I've ever seen one. Spine across the line in 12th. Rocco is across the line in 13th. He misses out on points today, so does Coam. And Cohen actually jumped up to 13th because of Rocco's penalties. Killer Blue across the line in 15th. The random guy who joined has left once again, as is his characteristic. Stick it again on invite only. Killer Blue in 15th. Daka across the line here in 16th position in the Renault. And Waluigi, fastest lap of the race, went to him. He's across the line in 17th. Alphatrix and Montana, 0.3 of a second separating the top two out on track. A fantastic race. Your driver of the day, as voted for the fans, is Baki, the Pole, who managed really with the VSC. He got a bit lucky with it and drove a very comfortable race out on track. But Alphatrix takes the top step of the podium, 0.3 of a second the gap. But now his gap is 33 points to Montana, so he can afford really to lose points next week.
He doesn't even have to race to stay ahead of Montana. I'd assume he would want to race just to hold that gap. But there was a great win and a great battle. One more lap and maybe Montana could have had it. But that's just the way that the cookie crumbles. What a win from Alpha Trix. 3/10 was the gap between those two. And I'm excited to see what the Discord's saying about all the crazy moments today.
Front three remain as they are. So Alpha Trix wins, Montana second, Schiaparelli in third, and I will reiterate this, Schiaparelli having his best race in League of Europe since last season, I think, in Germany, if I'm not mistaken, where he picked up a third place finish. Verstappen finishing in fourth, just ASAS actually, 13th on the grid up to fifth. I think he gets my driver of the day vote personally. D. Daniel across the line in sixth, Droppier in seventh, Campbell and eighth, Baki in ninth, Suku in 10th. Not many penalties being picked up by the guys actually, which is good to see. Neo across the line in 11th, Spine in 12th, fill out the points. Cohen in 13th, Rocco 14th, Killer Blue 15th, Daka 16th. Waluigi did pick up that fastest lap point and 17th position for him out on track. Unfortunate with Toxic, he got into a bit of contact with Rocco. I'm sure they'll make up over it in just a few minutes time. But Toxic across the line in 18th, he didn't finish. Bolin neither didn't. He and Kooky Games in 20th position. And those guys will be hoping, of course, for better races next week out on track. But Alpha Trix wins, Montana in second, Schiaparelli in third. That rounds off the Azerbaijani Grand Prix. And who said there wouldn't be overtakes?
Well, if they were saying that there wouldn't be overtakes, they were shut up completely, because that was an incredible race filled with action, and I'm sad it's come to a close. If I could relive it, I would. That's probably one of the best races I've ever done commentary for. It was insane.
I totally agree on that. I think it was a fantastic commentary, fantastic race by the drivers. Give yourself a pat on the back, get yourself a well-deserved drink after that one, and you can now sit up, relax, or practice for next week as well. You can do that by all means. But, of course, next week from Baku, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we go to Canada.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm right in reading that on the calendar. I hope.
Well, if that's the case, we're going to see a lot of penalties. There's so many places to go off the track there. That could change up the results. But of course, I'm not going to speculate before. It's not even a week until the race yet, so can't say anything about it now.
Let's have a look actually and see where we are going to host the races next week. I'm pretty sure it is Canada. I saw that on the Discord, and I'm trying to find actually the calendar. If you bear with me just a second, I'm trying to get this up and type and talk at the same time. It's impossible for me to do. But next week for F1 2020, we do go to... Yeah, it is Canada. So I was right. Canada. Don't doubt myself. 19th of September, round 7 in Canada. The Wall of Champions have claimed many, many egos over the last few years, certainly within League of Europe and indeed in other leagues and indeed in real life as well. I'm looking forward to Canada, but final thoughts from Azerbaijan. Who was your driver of the day?
Oh, I can't choose just one. I probably have to give it to Joss. Oh, you gave it to him. So just because the game gave it to him, I can't say Baki. I'll go with the race winner in Alpha Trix. He drove a stellar race today, and he held off Montana right until the end on Montana's favourite track as well.
Yeah, Alpha Trix playing Montana at his own game. I wonder if it's going to be a role reversal next week, if Montana can get his own back on Alpha Trix. And as usual, a James Head prediction went wrong, as it always does, in League of Europe and indeed in any other commentary. But that is it for tonight. If you do want to tune into more action, Division 2, I guarantee you, is going live in just a couple of minutes' time. Daka and Verstappen are going to be taking you through that one. And then it's Division 5, and I think either Bryn Mike is commentating alongside that one, my co-commentator on a Thursday for TTML. Go and join him for Division 5. Or if you want, just watch both. Why wouldn't you watch both? It's Baku all over again. You might see a lot more overtakes than what we did in Division 1.
I doubt it, but it's possible.
I doubt it as well. I think these guys, honestly, Division 1 has been brilliant. Anyways, I'm waffling on. Thank you so much for watching Out on Track tonight. We will see you, of course, next week from Canada. So for myself and Dan, please stay safe. Please look after your families in what is the rising cases of COVID-19. Look after yourselves, and we will see you next week in Canada. Goodbye.